All right, all right. Switching gears, we got UFC 287 in lovely, beautiful Miami, Florida. Prelims start at 8 p.m. The main card and pay-per-view starts at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So to kick it off, I'll start with the a couple fights before the main card. So the main event of the prelims is Chris Curtis versus Kelvin Gastelum. Kind of disrespectful that they're the main event of the prelims. I'll get to why in a second. This is going to be what I believe to be a stand-up war. It has a chance to be fight of the night. These two guys just want to stand and bang. They both can wrestle, but really rely more on their striking ability and being on the feet. So expect a banger in the main event of the prelims to really kick off the energy and get ready and hyped up for the pay-per-view. Winner of that fight, I really can't pick that fight to see who was the winner. I don't think it's gonna go. I think it's gonna go to decision. I should say. I don't think somebody's gonna get finished. But when those two guys are swinging leather, anything can happen. So kicking off the pay per view, why I said those two guys should feel a little disrespected is because we got Raul Rosa Jr. taking on Christian Rodriguez. Now, Raul Rosa is kind of this new sensation of the UFC where he is 18 years old, John. He's even younger than you, fighting in the UFC. This is his second fight. His last one was, I believe it was also on a pay-per-view too. Let me just double check. Yep, it was on in the December pay-per-view. He kicked off the pay-per-view as well, and he got a submission in the first round. Now, he's speaking very confidently. He said he can beat any bantamweight in the world currently. A little much, but all I have to say about him is, listen, there's going to be a welcome to the UFC moment. Will it be this fight? I don't know, but there will be that moment, and we're going to see what he's really made of when that happens. Listen, Christian Rodriguez, I'm not familiar with him, haven't seen him fight, but from looking at him, he's never been finished. He's 8-1. And he's 25 years old, so he's 7 years the elder. And if you know about this, when you grow up and you mature, as you get older, your body just tends to it's stronger than when you were younger. Yeah,
he's got 5 inches also in reach too.
Yep. In reach. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know who's going to win that fight, but it's going to be interesting to see if this kid can keep the momentum going. Next up, we got Kevin Holland taking on Santiago Ponzinibbio. This should be another stand-up war. Pons is more known for his striking. So is Kevin Holland. He likes to stand and bang. If you know Kevin Holland, he is his last 2 fights. He's on 2 fight skid. He lost to Hamzat at UFC 279 during that complete confuzzlement where he was scheduled to face Daniel Rodriguez at 170. Hamzat was scheduled to face Nate Diaz in the main event. They had a big mess up because Hamzat missed weight by about 7.5 pounds, I think. And so they switched it up and made Kevin Holland and Hamzat and Diaz versus Ferguson as the main event. And there's a little controversy to that where some people, and I do believe this, Holland looked like he was going for the touch of gloves to start, and Hamzat just kind of dived straight at his legs. I'm not saying it would have changed the outcome of the fight. I'm just saying it might have been a more a longer fight. It would have postponed the inevitable, if that. I mean, Holland did a pretty damn good job of defending the takedown, the submission until he did eventually get it. Hamzat did. But this fight, and then the last fight Holland had, he fought Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in Orlando in December, and he broke his hand early in that fight. He's able to come back quick now, so he's got the 3-inch height advantage. He's got an 8-inch reach advantage, 81-73, which is insane. He's 6 years younger than Pons. Listen, Kevin Holland's a fan favorite. We love him. I love him. I'm going to pick Kevin Holland to win this fight. This is another one that has a chance to be fight of the night too. Kevin Holland's a big trash talker, so get your popcorn ready for these fights. It's going to be great. And there's even some stuff going on at the UFC hotels in Miami where Holland said he doesn't like Masvidal and hopes Burns beats him. And I guess there was a little separation that happened at the hotel between Masvidal and Holland. Once I saw Holland's comments, I was just like, oh, dude, if those two see each other together, there's going to be some problems. And Lo and behold, a couple hours later, there was some problems and there was some separations. I guess nothing got physical. No punches were thrown. It was just a verbal altercation. But, hell, man, that's a fight that I think a lot of people would want to see too. Next up, we got one of my favorites of the night. Rob Font, the 6th ranked bantamweight, versus Adrian Yanez, the 12th ranked bantamweight. Adrian Yanez, I'm really hard on his train right now. I've been following him since the Dana White Contender Series. Both guys are stand-up guys, mainly boxers, so expect another stand-up war and a possible fight of the night. Font, Font has a great jab, but he's lost his last 2 fights against Aldo and Cheeto, 2 top guys. Aldo is retired now. Both 5-round L's. This is more of a step back for him, I guess, quote unquote, where he's not fighting a top 5 guy in the world right now. While Yanez, since his debut in the Contender Series in 2020, where he finished a guy in 39 seconds, he's had 5 fights in the UFC. All 5 have been performance bonuses, 4 finishes, and 1 fight of the night. I fell in love with this kid's story, his upbringing. He lost his father. He actually just recently lost his coach. So now he's with a new team. And this is a major fight for him, a big step up. If he wins this fight, he's going to be getting a top 5 guy next, and then it's off to the races. Title fight might be next up for him. I love it. I call Yanez a mini Masvidal, and it's because these two look like each other. Masvidal more when he was younger and he had the short hair, but they also fight very similarly. So if you watch both these fights, because Masvidal fights right after, you're going to notice instantly the way these guys fight in their stance and how they strike in that is very similar. So yeah, I got Yanez in this fight. I don't know if he's going to be able to get the finish. Font has never been finished before. It's going to be a tough fight. He's the favorite. I'm taking Yanez. I'm riding that train to the bank. Then we got the co-main event. This is a fight that I'm very invested in as well because Masvidal is one of my favorite fighters, and he's fallen on some tough times. He's on 3-fight losing streak, all 3 to top 3 welterweights in the world, though. So no, not like he's slouching or anything, and all 3 to wrestlers. Now he's taking on Gilbert Burns. Gilbert Burns is a world-class, world champion jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's won a world championship. He's won a World Cup gold medalist. He's got good wrestling, but I think Masvidal is going to be able to negate that. If you watch his performances against Usman and Colby, who are much better wrestlers and much more relentless at it, he did a very fine job on the initial takedown attempt. It was the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th that really killed him, and I don't think Burns is going to do that. Now, Burns has major power, but he's sloppy on the feet. He's not as technical, keeps his chin up in the air, and that's going to leave him a little susceptible to getting, touched up. Jorge on the other side is an elite striker. That's where he thrives. He got great takedown defense, like I lamented, and he's got great submission defense. So that's going to come in handy when taking on Gilbert Burns if it does end up to the ground. I just want to remind fans, Jorge Masvidal was backpacked by Damian Maia, another world-class jiu-jitsu practitioner, for a majority of majority period of time, I should say. And Damian Maia was not able to get the submission on Jorge Masvidal. Now, I say that to say this. I don't expect this fight to play out on the ground. I don't expect Gilbert to attempt a takedown, to be honest with you, unless he gets a little in trouble. I expect this to stay on the feet. I see this similarly to the Hamzat Gilbert fight of last year, where Gilbert in certain fights is going to want to put on a show for the fans. And this is why he called out Masvidal. I don't think he's going to use his ground game. I think it's going to mean much more if he's able to touch Masvidal up and beat him on the feet.
Make it a show, baby.
Yep, and that's what I think he's going to do. And guess what? You're playing right into Masvidal's hands because that's what Masvidal thrives on. I do expect that to bite him in the ass. So with all that being said, right now, Gilbert Burns stands as a minus 475 favorite, while Masvidal is a plus 350. I'm taking that plus 350 all the way to the bank. because like I just said, I expected to stay on the feet. That's going to favor Masvidal, and I do think that Masvidal he's talking about that this possibly could be his last fight.
Hmm.
He's gonna leave it all on the line.
Do you think Burns' leg kicks could kind of wear him down, his lower body, the way we saw of Edwards versus Kamaru?
No, Masvidal can a leg kick change the game 100%? One or two can instantly change the outcome. It's just certain guys are a little built differently, and I think Masvidal's been he's been the OG in this game, and I think that the leg kicks are just something he's just gonna push through, and it's not going to affect him very much. So no, can it? Yeah, if it lands in the right place, but I expect Masvidal to do a very good job of negating that or getting out of the way or just kind of eating it and pushing through. Listen, he took a lot of foot stomps from Usman in his first fight, I think upwards of like 75 or something like that. And he was tap dancing the next day. So yeah. So I don't really expect that. Listen, my freaking stomach is going to be upside down when that cage door closes and the ref says, "You ready to fight? You ready to fight? Let's go." Because this could possibly be the last time I see Jorge Masvidal compete in a mixed martial arts setting.
And he can't go down losing 4 straight.
No, you can't. You can't. Because then his title, because he's only in it really for the title opportunity now. So if he loses this, the it's too far away. It's not going to be able to get to it. And I know he wants it so bad. And the champion, Leon, wants it too because of the history that those two have. So we're rooting for Masvidal over here. Next up, the fight in which this card was built on. The rematch or the quadrilogy? It's the 5th one in totality. Their 5th meeting. The 5th time these two are going to be standing across from each other. 2 in kickboxing. The 4th time. Sorry, fourth. This is the 4th time.
I was going to say, Pereira's only got 8 fights so far.
Yeah, sorry. 2 were in kickboxing. They had their last fight in MMA in November, and now the 4th one is going to be taking place in 2 nights from now. Alex has got the upper hand on all 3 occasions, right? 2 of them by knockout/TKO. The one knockout was in kickboxing where Izzy was winning the fight. He got caught and got flatlined. The first fight that they had in kickboxing was a very close split decision, I believe, and Izzy believes that he got the judges got it wrong that night. And then we fast forward to the MMA fight, which is probably going to mean the most right now to us. Izzy was winning that fight. I just rewatched it last week too. Izzy was winning that fight going into the 5th. He was up 3-1. I gave Pereira round 2. He had a very good round 2. But Izzy was able to very much control a majority of the fight. He had him rocked in the first round at the buzzer. Izzy said all I needed was 3 more seconds and it would have been done. I mean, Alex was on wobbly legs. This is what you bring up leg kicks last fight. Leg kicks are going to mean a lot in this fight because they played a major factor in last time's fight. Izzy was throwing a lot of leg kicks and Alex was able to check them very well. And Izzy said that affected him later on in the fight with his movement because Izzy likes to move a lot. The thing with Izzy though is after rewatching the fight, I came to this conclusion. Some people believe that the wrestling he used tired him out a little bit. I can buy that a tad because he's not known for his wrestling at all. And if you do something that you don't really do often, it's going to tire you out more, especially wrestling, which is probably the most exhausting thing to do in MMA. The main goal for Izzy is, and I think he knows this. In the media day they had yesterday, he was asked a question. And I think he was just about to give away his game plan, and he stopped himself. But I heard just a sentence of it where it's like, I'm not going to back or I'm going to make him back. And then he just stopped himself. And I know what he was going to say, which is exactly what I picked up on. Izzy cannot back up. In that fight, in the MMA fight last November, when he was losing, it was when he was backing up, he was on his back foot, and he was cornered. against the cage. He was winning the fight when he was going forward or when it was in the middle of the octagon. That is the game plan for Izzy. Do not back up. You stand pat in the middle or you have him backing up. Because when you get cornered against that cage, that's when those big shots start coming and you don't have much room to maneuver and move your head. And you can get caught just like he did in the 5th round where he didn't really have much more to go, much place to go, and he got caught. Now, Izzy's going to – this is what's crazy about this fight is that Pereira is one massive individual, John. I don't know if you've seen him. He cuts to 185, but on fight night, he weighs around 205, if not 210 pounds. John, his walking around weight is 220 plus pounds. Izzy walks around at probably about 195-ish. The disparity in these guys' size is ridiculous. I don't believe because right now I'm looking at ESPN. They're both listed at 6'4". I watched the last fight. Pereira has to be at least 6'5" or 6'6" because he just looks taller than Izzy. I do think that this might be Pereira's last fight at middleweight, win or lose. I think he's going to probably go up to 205. This is one. I'm talking with one of my MMA friends at work, and he's so nervous for this fight because this is a legacy fight for Izzy. If he loses this fight, he might not get another shot at the title. Crossroads fight. I'm going to say it again. After watching the fight back again, I do believe it was an early stoppage. I do think, and even Izzy said that it was an early stoppage, and I do still think Izzy was intelligently defending himself. He was moving his head around. Could he have been caught with a knee 100%? Could he have dodged it and got out of the way? That too. So we don't know. We're going to find out now on Saturday night. This is probably the end. This is the final chapter in this book of Pereira versus Adesanya. Right now, Izzy is the favorite, minus 135, while Pereira is the underdog at plus 115. I can't pick a winner. My heart wants Izzy. My head is saying Pereira has won 3 of the fights, all 3 fights. In the back of, even though Izzy says it might not bother him, you got to think in the back of his mind, this guy flatlined me. This guy TKO'd me. This guy has beat me 3 times. And I saw a thing on Twitter, somebody asking a question, have we ever seen 4 fights between somebody in boxing, MMA, or kickboxing where a guy won 3 fights, the first 3 fights, and then the other guy won the 4th fight? The only thing the person could point to was Pacquiao versus I'm losing the name, but whatever. That's the only thing, and that's in boxing. There's no thing of this happening in kickboxing or MMA. So if Izzy were to do this, this would be history, literal history, that the first time this would ever happen.
Pacquiao versus Marquez.
There you go. It's tough to bet against Izzy. Is he going to lose to 3? Is a guy at Izzy's level going to lose to the same guy 3 times? That's hard to bet against. But, man, you got the competitive edge when you win 3 times and you've finished him twice. I can't pick a winner. Like I said, my heart wants to say Izzy. My head wants to say Alex. All I'm saying is this fight is probably not going the distance. Somebody is going to get finished. So under 4.5 would be my bet for this fight.
I definitely think there is, like we saw with the last fight, again, to Usman versus Edwards. He wanted to get vengeance for getting knocked out by Leon. And I think oftentimes when you have these level of fighters with this much confidence, even if you lost the first 3 times, you want to make a statement. And that level of aggression is something your opponent can expect and can prepare for. And so there is a level of, is there going to be too much aggression here by Adesanya? And can that come back to bite him at the end with maybe one vicious blow? I want to look out for that. Is he overly aggressive? That'll be interesting.
That's a great point, John. Because I do think the way Izzy's talking is I do think he wants to get his back. I do think he wants to finish him. I think that's the only way it'll sit right in Izzy's stomach after the fight is to get a finish. I don't think it's going to – I think getting a decision is – he might be a little happy, but he's going to sit back and be like, man, you finished me twice. Nah, I need to get mine back. And he was close in their second kickboxing fight. He had him wobbled. And in the MMA fight, he had him wobbled in the end of the first round. So it's not like Izzy can't do it. It's been there. He's just got to do it at the right time in the course of the fight where he's got the time to capitalize on that. So
What's going to be the best fight of 287, Brennan?
What's going to be the best fight? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
man. There's so many good ones because a bunch of these are just going to be stand-up wars. God, that's literally the hardest choice because you got Holland and Pons, they're going to stand and bang. Curtis and Gaslam stand and bang. Giannis and Font going to stand and bang. Burns and Masvidal stand and bang. Adesanya Pereira, no threat of takedowns. That's so tough. I'm going to say the one I'm probably going to be most emotionally invested in is Masvidal Burns. So I'll say Masvidal Burns. But like I said, this fight is going to be fireworks. I do believe that. I think there's going to be a lot of bonuses going around. Dana's going to have to open up the wallet tonight. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting fight. It's honestly a can't miss night of fights in Miami, Florida. The first time in 20 years the UFC's coming.
Rosas wasn't born yet. The last time their fight. That's
born
wild.
Yet.